Another principle I learned from my grandmother was to always give more than you receive. And what she was really teaching me, she was teaching me about success, because she wanted me to know that success is measured by how much you've given, not how much you receive and how much you accumulate, but by how much you give. And so for me, learning that important principle about wealth and about success, giving, generosity, really shaped who I am today. I went to elementary school here at Bryant Elementary School, and I had such an incredible experience. But as you can imagine, being an orphan by the age of 7, not having my mother and my father was not present in my life, that caused a lot of difficulties for me, because all the men that I looked up to were mostly gang members or phenomenal men in our history. And so I had this hard line. I had to make a daily decision. Who was I going to follow? And that decision was so hard because my father was absent. So fast forward some years, I went to college and I held on to the principles that my grandmother taught me about wealth, and I decided to finally get in the game myself. I didn't have a lot of money, but I had the right mentality, and I decided to purchase my first duplex. And it was a hard decision. It required a lot of sacrifice and blood, sweat, and tears, literally some tears, because I had to stop buying shoes that I really liked for a year to save some money for a down payment. But I remember purchasing this duplex, and I lived in one unit, and I remember talking to people about what I should do with that second unit. Maybe I should rent it out to someone. Maybe I should try to turn this place into 2 separate condos and sell it. But I decided to call my father, the same father that abandoned me when I was young, because I knew, although I was a grown man at this time, I knew that my success was about me being generous. And my father lived in the Midwest at the time, and here we are on the West Coast. So I called my father and said, "Dad, I want you to know that I forgive you, and I hope if I ever hurt you, that you forgive me too." We hung up, and a few months later, guess what happened? My father moved all the way back to little old Tacoma, Washington, and he lived in that other unit. I remodeled it for him. He wasn't able to pay full rent, but even more significantly, I wanted my generosity to not only be a mindset, but I wanted my generosity to become action. And so my father lived with me, and he became my best friend. I was literally holding on to the principles that my grandmother taught me. And not only did it help me accumulate some early wealth, it also helped me restore relationships, which I believe our greatest resources come from relationships. And I knew if I wanted to be successful and if I wanted to be wealthy, I had to be generous, and I had to focus on the relationships that mattered the most. And that relationship was with my father. And now, as a man that is married, and I have a daughter, and my wife is pregnant with my son, I am who I am today, the man today, because of the relationship I had with my father. I am who I am today because of the principles my grandmother taught me about generosity. True success and true wealth is not how much you receive, but how much you give. And now I can pass those same principles on to my daughter and to my son and to my family.